Well, welcome to another blog. Now, before I get started, this video contains some very bad words. Now, it can't be helped. It's part of life. So if you can't cope with a bit of bad language, maybe it's time to hit that off button. Now, those words that you might be hearing are unbelievable, and I don't live my life by these words. Hence, they're so hard to say. Practical, economical, sensible. These words are going to come up a lot in this video, and so I apologise for using them from the very start. So, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about today is where I'm up to with all these cars. The old dolly behind me here, nothing's happened whatsoever. The welder still hasn't come up with a couple of jobs that he still has. I'll be going to see him to nag him because I really want to get this car finished. Finished in terms of all back in one piece. But here comes the words. Practical, sensible and economical has raised its head. I was 66 the other day. Old age pension is beckoning, and so the decision had to be made. The dolly and the 7 will be garage ornaments, trophies to my past for the rest of my days anyway. Maybe one day someone else will play with them, but it's unlikely to be me. But I still have hopes of making them and finish them off so they're whole going cars, even though they will sit here and just look pretty. Now the other news, which also falls into those categories of practical and sensible and economical, is that the bottomless pit that was the Toyota Celica GT4 has been sold. Someone bought it, he was very keen on it, very enthusiastic and very sort of happy to tackle its electrical gremlin. So here's a little video I made on the day it went. Well, it's a sad old day here. My Toyota Celica GT4 has been sold. Someone will be here in half an hour or so to take it away. Now this, like my Triumph Dolomite, were dream cars from when I was a younger person, and it's great that I have actually owned it. But it was supposed to be the car that saw me out, the car that saw me out. I always thought that it'd either be the knees and the back stopping me getting in and out of it that would sort of mean I'd have to get rid of it, or the other possibility was that something would go wrong with it, that as a just on pension a person, I wouldn't be able to afford to fix it. And that's the scenario that has played out. The car has some sort of electrical gremlin, and having spent a lot of money and no one fixing it, it's time for it to go. And someone who's a bit of an enthusiast has bought it, and I'm sure it will get fixed and go on, but not in my hands, which is a very sad thing. It's a wonderful car. For me, that means probably driving my old Triumph in the short term anyway, and probably who knows for how long. So there it is, the poor old Toyota. Well, that was that. The Sleek is gone. So I've only got 3 Triumphs now, but these 2, well, the Dolly can't be registered and never going to be, and the 7 will never. So I've got the old 2500 Triumph. Now that was on what's commonly called club plates here in New South Wales, Australia, which has a limit of 60 days usage a year. Well, I took it to get an inspection, and it is now a fully registered car. I can drive it anywhere and any time I want. Now that's fine, I've got a car and I've got transport, but an old Triumph, and I love them, is not the most practical thing to have in traffic and driving in a modern world. I did a lot of consideration to doing just that, but having over the months been driving the Triumph quite a bit, they're drafty. They're noisy. Everything's heavy, even though I'm going to put power steering in it. They're smelly. And even though the Triumph is a car that I can fix myself on the side of the road if necessary, the last thing I want to be doing is causing a traffic jam in peak hour traffic in the middle of the city with a Triumph that sort of have some dummy spit, and me trying to fix it in the rain or in the dark or whatever. So unfortunately I think, again, the practical word comes up. I'll probably be looking at buying a Subaru Impreza, maybe. Probably 2000 to 2009 era sort of Impreza. And hopefully that can then be the drive around car, and the Triumph will be the car club event type car. That's the plan. That's me being as practical, sensible and economical that I can possibly be. Now, a real practical, sensible, economical person, the sort of person that is a spectator rather than a participator, which is not me, they would sell the 2 Triumphs or the 3 Triumphs and buy a Toyota Corolla automatic. Well, I won't be doing that. I'm going as far as I possibly can. And they would probably even use an even nastier word, using a nastier word. They'd probably sell these 3 cars and invest the money. Invest. What an awful word that one is. Lucky my parents aren't around to hear me say that one. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so that's the state of play here. The 7 and the Dolly garage ornaments. The 2500 be the club car, and hopefully a Subaru will be my transport car. Now, as far as work goes on the cars, well, I've got to put the power steering in the 7 at some point, and I've got to finish the Dolly off once the welder gives me back what he's got. The 2500 will be the next big job that you'll probably see videos of. I've got to pull the motor out, the gearbox, and I've got power steering to go in it. There's a lot of work to do on the Mark 1. But I can't do that until I've got another car. And the other thing that's coming up is a potential, possible, hopeful epic trip. Now, I had this epic trip planned, and it was about 12 days long, visiting past and present motorsporting venues in a loop up the highlands of New South Wales into Queensland and then back down the coast of New South Wales. There's quite a few old hill climbs, some active hill climbs, some public road hill climbs that they close the road once a year for or whatever, and there's some that they aren't allowed to do that anymore, but the public road's still there so you can drive on them, and some racetracks that are simply gone that are now one's a canal development, you know. But I've shortened that trip because it was a bit epic. It's now a 7-day trip, and maybe I'll do the second part of it another time. But it's still into the highlands and up into the bottom of Queensland and then back down. Now, I haven't now got time to rebuild the old Mark 1 to do it in before this trip is due. I need to go on certain dates in order to coordinate with certain events that are on at these venues. So I'm sort of going to be trusting my luck a little bit with the old Triumph in the way it is. Hey, look, it's an old beast. It'll get me there and back. So the rebuild on the Triumph might not happen till after July. We'll have to wait and see, because maybe I won't do the trip for some reason, who knows, and in that case I'll get onto the Triumph as soon as I buy a Subaru. And I think that's about it. From a movie making standpoint, I haven't been doing much other than car club stuff and interviewing people, which I'll be doing a lot on that big trip. Because I still don't have actresses to be in some of the films I've written. The Farmer Gets a Wife, and a sequel to another film that I made some years ago, which had the Toyota in it. That's going to make some from creative writing to sort of not have the Toyota in the sequel. Anyway, and so I guess that's about the end of it. So bye for now.